Macron, shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you.
Postponed for the 8th time the visit of the United Nations Special Reporter on Human Rights. This is at a time where more than 11,000 people were jailed without no right in Algeria by no right from justice that has no legitimacy. So we recall that more than those 11,000, there are more than 300 people still in jail because of their opinion. So you can understand why the Algerian regime refused any checks or visits from reporters from the United Nations. This is why we are here today to tell not only Swiss people and other friends of human rights, we know why we are here, because the High Committee of Human Rights is just behind us. So let's tell our friends in Switzerland and the Europeans what is going on in Algeria. There are, as I said, more than 300 people just jailed for their opinion, and mostly from the Iraq pro-democratic movement and non-violent movement that was recognized by a declaration of the United Nations that the Iraq movement is a legal political opposition, a non-violent political opposition that has the right to voice and to say its opinion in Algeria. In order to silence all political opponents, the regime in Algeria created a new penal article, which is 87 bis, using it as a tool of repression. Any free opinion, any opposition to the regime of generals in Algeria. So, this is why we are here today, to say why Europe and America, other nations, are focused in the war in Ukraine. You are forgetting your own rules, your own principles of democracy towards the one that are suffering right now, especially in Algeria. Internal conviction. Just recall that the Algerian regime said those movements from Iraq are terrorist organizations. And we are here to say that all Iraq movements, with its components as organization, political party, and personal opponent, they proved their non-violence political activism since the beginning of Iraq in 2019 February. Let's remind what we call legally a terrorist organization. Internal Convention of United Nations resolution states that for an act to be classified as a terrorist, 3 conditions must be met. First one, the means used must be lethal. The second one, the intention of the act must arouse fear in the population. And the third one, it has to promote an ideological objective. It is obvious that none of these elements correspond to the legitimate peaceful struggle of the Algerian people against the oppression and against dictatorship of the generals in Algerian regime. The Iraq movement is an alternative for a better future with a peaceful Mediterranean and North African atmosphere, to apply the same principles of human rights and democracy not only in Europe but also in Africa, starting for the leading country as Algeria. So we are here today to remind not only Switzerland but also all the European and free countries of the world that you are giving way to dictatorship in Algeria because of few interests of gas and other things that doesn't count for the future. Our future together is to have a peaceful neighborhood and equal treatment and respect of each other for our common interests around the Mediterranean Sea and in Europe and Africa. Millions of Algerians live here in Europe. You cannot blind yourself or turn your head away from what's going on in Algeria as crimes against human rights and against democracy and against any peaceful project, political project in the whole region. So we remind you that any support of this regime of generals, military regime of generals in Algeria is showing your own freedom from the Mediterranean Sea and from the North Africa and Europe. So as neighbors, we have to take care of our own rules and respect our principles that are shared by all humans around the world, but starting with our neighbors. And those wars are just something that is blinding away your view on your own principles. So we are here not to ask any foreign intervention in Algeria, but just to recall you that you need to respect your own principles of human rights and democracy, and not reinforce or invite or give any legitimacy to the Algerian general dictatorial regime. So we see here the Hirak movement is coming here quite often to ask. First step is to free all opinion and political prisoners in jails in Algeria. There are hundreds, and there are some of them that are still in jail since 28 years. So we call it no intervention in Algeria. No intervention in Algeria, but just no support of the criminal regime of generals in Algeria. We say we are, the Hirak movement is doing its best to start a new era in North Africa and starting from Algeria. A new era with human rights and democracy for the Algerian people. So please don't support the dictatorship in Algeria, and we don't need any intervention in Algeria. We are a free people of Algeria, and we are just trying to set democracy and freedom of speech and human rights in Algeria. Unfortunately, Macron and many other countries here in Europe are supporting those generals, criminals. You know here in Switzerland that one of those generals is convicted by your own court, which is General Khal. He cannot come to Switzerland because he is a war criminal. And directly, France of Macron is supporting those generals in Algeria and not saying a word about human rights and the freedom of speech and any democratic future in Mediterranean and North Africa and Europe. We say freedom for Algeria, leave the Hirak, and democracy for Algeria. And we say we don't need any intervention for any foreign countries. Just let us alone without supporting the dictatorship of generals in Algeria. تحية الجزائر.